Hi, everyone. Welcome. Just finishing up final technological issues. Okay. Put that over here. All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. I see someone has their hand up already. Tony and Terry, hello. Here, I'll let you talk, Tony and Terry, I think. Hello? No? Yes? No? Ann Bardaki, your hand is up.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Okay, I'm going to now mute you because it's a lot of things. Or if you would mind muting yourself, thank you. Tony and Terry, Shana Tova, Lee, I see you. Everyone with your hands up, I think that it's too much for me. I'm so sorry. I got a lot of things to keep track of. So I want to say I wish you Shana Tova. I believe you can put things in the chat, but I can't promise I'll see those either. It's a lot to keep track of. And what I want to say to everyone is please bear with us. We are all very much doing the best that we can tonight. And as we go through these holiday seasons in this new Zoom way. But I'll begin officially again by saying Shana Tova and welcome, Shabbat Shalom. I know some of you know us. I'm Rabbi Elizabeth Dunsker. Some of you don't. And this is Flip Frisch, our soloist. We are both in the synagogue, but we're in different rooms. What that means for us is that usually we work best when we look at each other and are able to communicate, but we can't do that except when we do, you'll see us doing it. So when you see us giving each other strong, meaningful looks, you'll know we're trying to, we're trying to communicate, and it's hard. The other thing I'll say is here, I have a little video for you. If you are on a computer and you are seeing us like this, you can grab that sidebar right over there and make us bigger or smaller. You can see us or the slide or whichever way you want. If you're on an iPad or a phone, I don't think that it works. So for you folks, you get the picture that you get. But if you're on a computer, you should be able to see both me and Flip. And as I said, be able to make us larger or smaller as you would like. So 5780 wanted to make sure that we remembered this year, for sure. And I know most of you have heard, and I felt like there was no way to start this year or start this evening without acknowledging the death of Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The tradition is that when you hear that someone has died, the Jewish tradition is that you say, Baruch Dayan HaEmet, which means blessed is the judge of truth. And you say that for everyone, and the judge of truth in that phrase obviously is referring to God. But in this case, she was very much a judge of truth. Ruth Bader Ginsburg fought for equality. She fought for women's lives. She fought for our health. She created a world that made it possible for so many of us to live better, and her death makes the world a little bit darker and a little bit scarier, I think, right now for those of us with daughters who have to grow up in a world without Ruth Bader Ginsburg fighting for them and fighting for their rights. And I couldn't imagine starting this year and starting this service tonight, knowing what we know today about her death without acknowledging it. So the other thing I'll say is that this morning there's an email service, Jewels of Elul. You get an email in your box every day during the month of Elul leading up to the high holidays. And the last one came this morning, and it was written by the poet and translator Marcia Falk. And when I read it this morning, I thought it was really dark. I felt like it was such a dark, hard poem for the beginning of the new year. I didn't understand why it was there in my box. And now it makes sense. So I'll begin with this poem by Marcia Falk. Like awakening after a long illness, to find your health stole back in while you slept, Your sorrow in its time will retreat. And the knowledge you carried all along will reemerge whole and cleansed. One day you will not thrash in the too bright light, looking for a corner in which to close your eyes. One morning the weight will not be there beneath your eyelids, the first thing you wake to. It will not settle on your tongue like a lump of salt, and because you have stayed this long unrelenting in the unrelenting world, you know that time, though imperfect, is diligent and wrestles down grief, and that all things are born small and grow large, except grief, which is born large and grows small. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet, blessed is the judge of truth.
Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la.
The book is not written and sealed. You get to edit it. Decide what parts you want to emphasize and remember, and maybe even which parts you want to leave behind. Shana Tova means both a good year and a good change. Today, you can change the rest of your life. It is never too late. Rabbi Laura Geller.
הנני אני ממעש ונרעשת ונפחדת מפחד יושב תהילות ישראל באתי לעמוד ולחנן לפניך על עמך ישראל אשר שלחוני ואף על פי שאיני חטאית והגונה לך על כן אבקשך אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל Elohei Adonai Adonai El Rachum V'Chanun Elohim Shaddai Ayom V'Norai Yena Matzliach Daraki Asher Anochi Holechet La'amor Levakesh Rachamim Alai Ve'al Shochai Ki Ata Shomea Tefilat Amcha Yisrael Rachamim Baruch Atah Shomea Tefilah
I just realized I don't have candles.
I don't remember where Sam.
Okay, what are you
Bye.
asking me? Sorry, I was on the phone.
No, I just looked for, oh, are the candles, I see the candles. Hold on.
Okay.
Are you okay?
I don't know if you heard me drop all the candles. We just found out there's a little bit of a problem. We're supposed to be able to allow 500 people in, but it seems to have cut us off at 100. I don't know what to say for those folks. Sam, if you will apologize to everyone, and we will try to get it fixed this evening for tomorrow. Thank you. The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded in everything you do, be a menorah, a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity. Do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May your ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our life like the flames we kindle, always stretching upwards, striving for the good, reaching for you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Yehei ratzon shenizke livrichotecha, b'shanat chameshet alafim ushva me'ot shmonim ve'achad, Elohei olam barech otanu, ve'et kol beit Yisrael, b'chidush yamenu, b'simcha u'v'shalom, b'nechema u'v'ometz lev, b'chilutz atzamot u'vruach etana. O God, our God of our ancestors, may we know your blessing in the year 5781. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness, and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. Yehi pri sifatenu mikubal v'ratsui milfanecha, bipros Hashanah hachadasha la'ad modim anachnu lach, al matna hachayim. May the word of the heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for this gift of life.
So I just saw a message that my mic was too quiet. I just turned it up a little. Is this better?
I think so. I think it's better.
No, we still can't hear you.
You can't. Okay, just a second. That's important. Apologies.
Please rise.
Is this better? Baruch et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
The quickening of the moon calls us to return, and we gather, seam dwellers on the edge of the earth. As the sun lowers itself into the sea, introspection rises. A sliver cracks the heart of the firmament, the vast blackness an invitation to write ourselves anew. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk.
Avat olam Beit Yisrael chavta Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Haken Adonai Eloheinu V'shochveinu kumeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Vahem neged Yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha U'v'chol meodecha Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha V'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha v'derech U'shochbecha uv'kumecha U'kshartam le'ot al yadecha V'hayu letotafot b'neinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha U'visharecha Leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai V'yitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem
You have stayed long enough in this place, God said. Time to go forward. Turn your face to the future. Believe that you can cross the sea and survive. Inside you is a Moses. Within you, Miriam dances unafraid. Lift up your voice and sing a new song.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Norah te'ilot osei felet Malchutecha Ra'u vanecha Bokeh hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Zeli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar Ki fada Adonai et Yaakov Uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai
By walking, I found out where I was going. By intensely hating how to love. By loving whom and what to love. By grieving how to laugh from the belly. Out of infirmity, I have built strength. Out of untruth, truth. From hypocrisy, I wove directness. Almost now I know who I am. Almost I have the boldness to be that person. Another step, and I shall be where I started from.
Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'Shalom, L'Shalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'Shalom, V'hamidenu, Malkeinu, L'chaim, L'Shalom, L'Shalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'Shalom, Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'Shalom, Rosh Tzeitzenu, Uvoenu, L'chaim u'L'Shalom, Ve'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'Shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem. Darkness settles slowly across the horizon. The new year rises before us, its fragile moon awaiting our embrace. Heaven and earth entwine in their annual dance of recreation. A fissure appears in the firmament tonight, an entranceway into new beginnings. Out beyond the swales, the sea expands and contracts, keeping time to the thrumming of the universe. Under this Rosh Hashanah sky, the path before us is uncertain. All we can do is hold each other tight as we make our way home.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Uvayom HaShvi'i Shabbat Vainafash Shabbat Vainafash Shabbat Vainafash Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam.
Standing on the snow-covered plain as if in a pasture amid the hills, I cut my way first through a foot of snow and then a foot of ice, and open a window under my feet where, kneeling to drink, I look down into the quiet parlor of the fishes, pervaded by a softened light as through a window of ground glass, with its bright sanded floor the same as in summer. There, a perennial waveless serenity reigns as in the amber twilight sky, corresponding to the cool and even temperament of our inhabitants. Heaven is under our feet as well as over our heads. So if you are comfortable rising, we rise now for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal, yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amad yivrach erutei, ve'amlich malchutei. Uv'bechaychon, uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. V'gala, uv'izman kariv, v'meru.
Amen.
Yesh Rabbah mevarach leolam ulamei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal l'shmei dekudashah le'ela u'le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'amam v'meru.
The words of our prayers must not fall off our lips like dead leaves in the autumn. They must rise like birds out of the heart into the vast expanse of eternity.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid teilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Omer Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chatzei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula livnei b'neihem, V'man Shemo b'Ahava. Zochreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, v'chodveinu b'sefer Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atah, Rav lehoshia, morid hatam. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech nofli verofech cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishem afar. Mi chamocha bal gevurot umidom elach, melech meimit umechayeh umatzliach Yeshua. Mi chamocha al harachamim zocher letzurav lechayim lechayim merachamim v'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Adonai Eloheinu al kol ma'asecha ve'emadcha ve'emadcha al kol ma'shebarata ve'emadcha ve'emadcha al kol ma'shebarata ve'yiraucha kol ha'ma'asim ve'ishtachavu lefanecha kol haberuim v'ye'asu kulam aguda echad la'asod ritzoncha belevav shalem k'mo she'yadanu Adonai Eloheinu shehashaltkan lefanecha oz beyadecha ugvura biminecha oz beyadecha ugvura biminecha v'shimcha nora al kol ma shebarata v'shimcha nora al kol ma shebarata.
And so, in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witness of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name.
Uvechem ten kavod Adonai le'amecha tehila le'recha v'tikva tova ledoshecha v'firchon peh l'mayachalim lach shimcha le'artzecha v'sason le'irecha utzmichat keren leDavid avdecha ve'achirat ner leven yishai meshichecha bimhera ve'yameinu.
And so, in your holiness, give your people the gift of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith, true happiness for the land of Israel, true joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David, your servants, soon grow bright enough for us to see a beam of light in the darkness, a promise of perfection.
Uvechem tzadikim yiru veyismachu, yiru veyismachu v'sharim ya'alozu v'chasidim berina yagil ve'olata tikpot piha v'chol harishon kula ke'ashan tichleh ki ta'avir mimshelet sador min ha'aretz Lochata Adonai levadecha al kol ma'asecha Behar Tzion mishkan kevodecha U'biyerushalayim yirkadshecha Kakatuv bedivrei kodshecha Yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohayich Tzion Ledor vador Hallelujah.
And so, in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of vision, bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth. You, and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation, upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally, your God, Zion, for all generations. Hallelujah.
Kadosh ata v'nora shemecha ve'ein Eloha mibaladecha kakatu v'yigba Adonai tzevaot b'mishpat ve'el hakadosh nikdash b'tzedakah.
You are holy, your name is Ah. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamelech, Hamelech, Hamelech HaKadosh.
You chose us with love to be the messengers of mitzvot, and through us you made known your aspirations. Among all the many peoples, you gave us a pathway to holiness. Among all the great nations, you uplifted us and made yourself our sovereign. And so we seek you and serve you and celebrate our nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name has become our calling. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Ya'aleh v'yavo v'yagia v'yira'eh v'yiratzeh, v'yishma v'yipaked v'yizacher, zichronenu ufikdonenu, v'zichron avotenu v'imotenu, v'zichron Yerushalayim ir kodshecha, v'zichron chol amcha beit Yisrael lefanecha, l'fleita l'tova l'chein ol chesed ol rachamim l'chaim l'shalom, bayom hazikaron hazeh. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova,
Amen.
uvogdenu vo livracha,
Amen.
v'hoshienu vo l'chaim.
Amen.
Our God and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and peace. On this day of remembrance, eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Be mindful of us.
Amen.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing. Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption. for you reign with grace and compassion. This is the prayer God utters. May my mercy conquer my anger in all my actions toward my children. May my compassion prevail. And this is the prayer I say. Compassionate One, ruler over me today and always, let mercy and forgiveness hold sway. Let the good within me prevail. Help me to serve you truly with purity of heart. When I hear hateful or degrading speech, let me focus on good words and worthy thought. When my worst instincts cause me torment, teach me to care for myself and for others. In rough waters and misfortune, let me harbor patience and strength. Make my soul a sanctuary, that your will may dwell within me. Align all my acts in pursuit of goodness, so may I be a vessel of holiness, serving you with purity of truth.
Say Adonai Eloheinu Ve'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam be'ava Tikabel U'tehi v'ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Kor Av Penei El Avadecha V'chaneinu Shefuch Ruchacha Aleinu V'techezena Einenu Shuvecha L'Tzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion.
God who is ours, God of all generations, to you we are grateful forever. Rock and protector of our lives, your power, your saving power endures from age to age. We thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness, morning, noon, and night. We call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope, now and for all time. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lahodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise.
Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom Tov Be'einecha לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך בספר חיים ברא bracha v'shalom, bracha v'shalom u'farnesa tova. Nizacher v'nikatzev lefanecha, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל, לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
And we continue now silently.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, וגואלי, וגואלי. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, וגואלי, וגואלי.
Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust. There are many who say to the works of their hands, "You are our gods," but when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence, for you are absent only when we fail to make room for you, in our hearts distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. We call you Avinu. As a loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu. As sovereign of our souls, help us rise up from brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew. Please rise. Avinu Malkeinu, Ein Lanu Melech, Ela Ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu, Lema'ancha Rachem Aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake, show us mercy.
Avinu Malkeinu, Aseh Imanu Lema'an Shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu Shlach Refuah Shlema L'Cholei Amecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us.
Avinu Malkeinu Kra Roa Gezar Dinenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us.
Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Geula Yeshua.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal.
Avinu Malkeinu Zochrenu B'Zichron Tov Lifanecha. Avinu Malkeinu.
Remember our goodness and call it to mind.
Avinu Malkeinu Aseh L'Ma'ancha V'Hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, Ve'al Aleinu, Ve'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Dever, Ve'cherev Ve'ra'al, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tsar, Mastin Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu va'aneinu, ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, ve'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu va'aneinu, ki ein banu masim.
Please be seated. See if I can make this work so I can read. This year has been hard. This evening has been hard. What can I say? What a year. What a year. No, really. What a year. Don't think I wasn't just tempted to say what a year for 10 minutes and call that this year's sermon. No, really, I considered it a lot. But what a year. I don't have to tell you, you all experienced it right along with me. There are articles and memes and TikToks and all kinds of wonderful media out there summing up this year so accurately. What else could I add to the conversation that is worth saying or hearing, except possibly, oi, what a year. We are all under the stress of watching the world change around us, not just quickly, but shockingly and surprisingly. 1 year ago, when we celebrated Rosh Hashanah 5780, we could only have imagined this year and even this past week as science fiction. We certainly could not have imagined the yellow skies we have seen out our windows, or the regular air quality updates that placed our air at a level so hazardous that it was beyond the scope of the air quality index. If you are a regular Torah study attendee, then you've heard me talk about the TV show Babylon 5 probably far too many times already. But more than ever right now, I'm feeling like that series was prophetic and might have some lessons for us. The show takes place in the future, the 2260s, 10 years after Earth is almost destroyed by an alien race who surrendered just before destroying us. A space station is built called Babylon 5 and is directed by people from Earth with ambassadors from other species as a way to hopefully avoid future wars, essentially an intergalactic United Nations. At the end of the first season, the Vorlon ambassador, Kosh is his name, tells the director of the station, and so it begins. We don't fully understand until the 5th season what exactly it is that has begun. What has begun is a war between species older and more powerful than anyone else. It is a war between the Vorlons, who seek order and control in the universe by manipulating the genetics of other species and appearing to them as more powerful gods. They ask one question of others repeatedly: who are you? They expect that through their work with those worlds, helping them to grow and develop as the Vorlons want them to, the answer to the question of who are you will lead the other worlds inevitably to side with the Vorlons and their love of law and order in this coming war. The other ancient species in this war is a people called the Shadows. They ask a different question: what do you want? They argue for chaos. Their ideology teaches to take what you want in whatever way you can, primarily through force and conflict. The space station, which includes those from Earth and the other younger species, is caught between these two factions, struggling to decide which ally is the right one to choose for their own long-term survival. That struggle between chaos and order is eternal. Obviously, Babylon 5 didn't invent it. They only embodied it and turned it into entertainment. But of course, it isn't all that entertaining when it feels so very real as it does these days. By the way, Rosh Hashanah is all about celebrating both chaos and order. On Sunday morning, for the second day of Rosh Hashanah, we read the beginning of the Torah, where God begins the work of taking chaos, tohu vavohu, and organizing it into above and below, the land and the sea, plants and animals, and finally humans. When God creates us in God's image, it is to continue God's work of ordering the chaos around us. It is good work, important work. We need structure to survive, but the chaos is also inevitable. In almost no time at all, there is a flood that destroys nearly everything. Too much structure, and we are unable to learn and adapt to changes. We can't, as the saying goes, think outside the box. If we have so much structure, we don't even realize we're inside of a box. All innovation, art, creative work requires chaos. Too much structure and that drive to grow and change is stifled. But of course, too much chaos is destructive to all life. Without any laws or structure to our lives, we are all always at risk. The past 6 months have been a struggle for all of us, between the structure of what we used to understand as normal and the chaos of what our lives and our world has become. Do we leave the house? Do we sit outside at a restaurant? What kind of mask do we wear and when? Can our children go to school? And then, of course, the fires and smoke. It's not safe to be outside and breathe. How many people had to race from their homes and are now without any safe place? And of course, there is always a giant elephant and a giant donkey always in the room these days. There is the social unrest, systematic racism that has resulted in much too much loss, and the police crackdowns, children in cages, forced hysterectomies, and of course, more than 190,000 Americans are dead. All of this without an idea of how much longer our lives will look like this. We may have to make peace with the idea of settling in because it may be this way for a lot longer than any of us would like. What a year. It's a lot. In fact, it's too much. Too much for any of us and too much for all of us. This chaos drives us towards wanting structure. We just want our kids to go to school. We just want to sit and eat at a restaurant. We just want to know that we are safe, that we will be safe, that it will be okay, and our lives will get back on the previous schedule. But I don't want this eve of the new year, which is meant to be joyful, to only be about doom and gloom. So let's go back to the creation story for a moment. For 6 days, as I said, God works diligently to bring order to the chaos. The world is chaos. God's intervention is to order it, but the chaos is always there. It is always underneath, waiting for its opportunity. There's a midrash, one of my all-time favorites, in fact, which teaches that after creating humanity and wrapping up all of the hard work, just before taking that well-deserved rest, God creates a few extras, a few magical things that sit in wait for the moment they are necessary. They are things like the big fish we will read about on Yom Kippur afternoon who swallowed Jonah, or the talking donkey, who our religious students all agree is left-hooved and is obviously named Brunhilde, who responds so eloquently when being beaten by Balaam. There is a magic lamp that uses no fuel and is kept in the ark with Noah and his family so that there is light during the storm. And the magical device that always makes me laugh, that the rabbis agreed was so important it had to be included on this list, is tongs. Yes, tongs, just like the ones you use to flip food in a frying pan or grab salad veggies with. God imagined these magic things and held them back only to be released at the moment that humanity, not just Jews, mind you, but from the moment that humanity would need them most. As a last burst of creative energy, God created chaotic items outside of the natural order to distribute as necessary over time to aid humanity as we grow. For me, this is a little tasty nugget of hope. Not that I expect God to drop a flying unicorn on us whose mane holds the magical cure to COVID-19, although I wouldn't say no if she appeared. Rather, I have hope that just like in the days of yore, it has been something unexpected, something out of the ordinary, something a little chaotic that has rescued us and helped us move back towards something that looks like order, even if it is a different kind of order than our lives resembled before. Just imagine how hard our lives would be without tongs. Right now, our lives are in chaos, and our world is in chaos. The forces of chaos ask, what do you want? It's an important question to ask ourselves always, but we must be wary of the answer, lest it lead us to think we should always have what we want. The forces of order ask, who are you? Figuring out our answer to that question can help us decide what is the best course to follow, as long as we remember that other people come to different answers to that question. Ultimately, in Babylon 5, the younger species were able to defeat both forces when they realized the forces were both so stuck on those questions, had been asking the same questions for millennia, that they were unable to answer them for themselves. They had gotten so attached to their ideologies for the sake of ideologies that they had lost the purpose that those ideologies were meant to support and protect. They had lost the reason for the ideologies. So, what is our way forward? What is our question? What do we want and who are we? Are fundamental. We must always ask those questions. But there's a third question we have to ask as well, which is, what are we going to do? What are we each prepared to do? What are we as a community prepared to do to aid in the work of making our homes, our country, and our world more livable and more balanced between those forces of chaos and order? This year, this High Holy Day season, what I am sure of is that I know less than I ever did before. I have far fewer good answers and mostly a lot more questions. As we move through these holy days and days of awe, I have been most interested in examining chaos and order, where each leads us, and how to ask the right questions to help us move towards something better. I'm also trying very hard to keep these thoughts tight and brief. We'll see how well at that I do, because sitting in front of our screens and listening just doesn't seem to be as fun as it used to be, and the longer we do it, the harder it gets. In the Sephardic world, there is a Rosh Hashanah blessing that this year especially, and what a year it's been, feels even more powerful than wishing someone a Shana Tova or a Shana Metuka, a good year or a sweet year. The Sephardi phrase is, Tichle Shana v'chiloteha techal Shana uvirchotecha. The old year and its curses is ending. May the new year bring blessings. Keni hiratzon. May this be God's will. So I'm going to take a moment here and reshare our screen, which will for sure take me a moment. Actually, it'll take a couple of moments. I know you're looking at the wrong one, so hold on. I am getting a message that says that screen sharing isn't working and I should try again later.
Curses of last year.
I'm going to try one more time. I know it's wrong. Hold on, hold on. It takes a couple. Okay, still wrong. I know. If it were easy, it would be easy. You should be seeing the correct slides now, right? Yes, correct slide? Okay, good. No one ever told me the coming of the Messiah could be an inward thing. No one ever told me a change of heart might be as quiet as new fallen snow. No one ever told me that redemption was as simple as springtime and as wonderful as birds returning after a long winter, rose-breasted grosbeaks singing in the swaying branches of newly budded tree. No one ever told me that salvation might be like a fresh spring wind, blowing away the dried, withered leaves of another year, carrying the scent of flowers, the promise of fruition. What I found for myself, I try to tell you. Redemption and salvation are very near, and the taste of them is in the world that God created and laid before us. So if everyone will please rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer bereshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser aretz, umoshav yekaro b'shamayim mima'al. Ushchinatu zo begovhe meromim, hu Eloheinu enod. Vanachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo, ushemo, ushemo echad.
Death will come. Its hand will not be stayed even an instant, nor can we enter into judgment with it. Our question why will go unanswered. But this does not mean that we are helpless in the face of death. We can and we do rob death of ultimate victory by living life as long as it is ours to live. To ask of death that it never come is futile, but it is not futility to pray that when death comes for us, it may take us from a world one corner of which is a little better because we were there. When we are dead and people weep for us and grieve, let it be because we touched their lives with beauty and simplicity. Let it not be said that life was good to us, but rather that we were good to life. And of course, we note today's death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We also remember the very recent death of Julia Usera, Phyllis Vogel, Cheryl Richards, Helen Johnston, Rudy Guttormson, Lynn Nierenberg, Betty Kuhn, Elna Lucille Evans, Norma Clarno, Faveto Haruz, Ray Frida Rubin, Elias Flessing, Laura Pritchard, Saul Menashe, Paul Klatsky, Sue Hayden, Marilyn B. Bighauser, Maddie Michaloff, Shirley Beatrice Margolis, Arlene Schnitzer, David Saunders, Marvin Glick, Erwin Holzman, Timothy Peterson, Rabbi Manny Rose, Marcia Feldstein, Naomi Rivera, Midge Stoller, Rabbi Joshua Stamfer, Daryl Neese, Kathy Cood, Florence Leffler, Marvin Margolis, Harold Cohen, Alan Plush, Peter Huyen, Pat Gidormson, Dolores Jaffe, and we note this week's yahrzeit of Raymond Green, Carol Lowinger, Norman Moses Karen, Francis Fish, Louis Millman, Ben Wiernick, Bessie Axelrod, Mitchell Feingold, and Henry Goodfader. I know that there are probably many others whose names you would like to say out loud. Please say them out loud in your own homes to ensure that their names are said for this moment. And we join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, Yalmad yivrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam ulalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu. La'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. So we have a couple of words by our president, Larry, which he pre-recorded.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to 5781. I don't know about you, but I am so over 5780. I want to start by thanking everyone who is tuning in, as well as those who recorded their part in the service. I also want to congratulate Rabbi Dunsker for putting it all together. I know it was overwhelming. Unfortunately, at least for the foreseeable future, this appears to be the new normal. I can't tell you how much I actually miss doing the announcements. I wrote and recorded these comments while we were all sheltered from the smoke and fires that are ravaging our region. Like a pandemic wasn't enough? Yes, that's smoke and fog out the window behind me. I hope that it is behind us and that the cool and crisp fall air and weather is upon us by the time you're hearing these comments. Can I get a Dayenu or something?
Dayenu.
Seriously, enough is enough, right? As we embark upon the days of awe, even though I think most of us would like to forget this last year, our task is to reflect. You may not know it because we haven't seen a lot of each other in person, but we actually had a really good year here at Congregation Kolami. Our membership is stable, trending slightly upward, and our finances look good. We took steps toward the beginning of COVID to take a hard look at cutting those expenses we can, such as yard maintenance, cleaning the synagogue, and armed security for our services, and it has made a tremendous difference. Now, all we have to worry about are computer viruses or getting Zoom bombed. Our membership is not only strong, but our congregants have been even more generous than we had hoped. We were able to modify the format for our wine event, which was so graciously hosted by David Nierenberg, and it was a tremendous success. Kudos to the event organizers for your diligence and creativity. We also received COVID funds from the US government, which we were able to utilize. These funds will save us thousands of dollars. Next, I want to take a moment to honor the memory of Cheryl Richards. Cheryl was my friend. She was a force for CKA, and she will be greatly missed. When I think of Cheryl, I think of her smile, and the word authentic comes to mind. Cheryl really cared about Mark, her friends, and this congregation. She did everything she could to stay engaged and to make sure our future was bright. I'll be honest, Cheryl scared me sometimes, but I always knew her bark was much worse than her bite, and I always knew she was there to support me as I worked on behalf of the congregation. As we go forward into the next year, let's honor Cheryl's wishes and her memory by being involved, by stepping up to do the right thing, and by treating people with the respect they deserve. I'm sure our job isn't done, just as I'm sure we still have many more obstacles to overcome. It's always easier when we face those challenges together. Please know that CKA is here for you. Reach out to help if you can. Reach out for help if you need it. Stay safe. Shana Tova.
Thank you, Larry. I want to just a couple of announcements since Larry's not doing them. Based on the weather, we weren't sure if it was going to be smoky or rainy or whatever it was going to be. It was not going to be awesome for standing outside and blowing shofar in the parking lot tomorrow. So we have moved the shofar service into the end of morning services. So we are not going to be here at 3 p.m. in the parking lot. One of my rabbi colleagues asked if we had called it the parking lot drive-in shofar, if we had called it shofar lot, like Camelot, and I kind of wish I had thought of that earlier. Next year, maybe, hopefully we won't need that, but we will hear shofar, unfortunately not live with our own ears, but through the computer tomorrow morning. I will also work diligently all night to ensure that we can let more people in tomorrow. Anyone who missed it, please let them know this is being recorded, and we're going to hopefully be able to put it on our YouTube channel, and we'll give that information out as well once we make sure that works. So that might not happen tonight, unfortunately. And I apologize to anyone who missed because Zoom limited us tonight. But services tomorrow morning will be at 10 o'clock. We're sort of taking a break in the middle to give everyone a chance to get up, walk around, have a sandwich, whatever you need to do. We expect the first part to go till 10 to 11, between 11 and 11:15, and then we'll take a break until 11:30, and then at 11:30 we'll pick it up and continue. And at 1:30 we will have family services, which will be on the same link. It's all the same link you used to get in tonight will be the one that works throughout. So Hopefully, things will be a little easier technologically tomorrow. We'll get it working. We'll spend more time. The amount of time we spent on this is inordinate, and it continues, but we will get there. So, flip. Adon Olam.
Oh, do you want to say anything about second day or the live?
Oh, yes, thank you. So we also have second day Rosh Hashanah on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock as well. That also will have a little bit of a break in it. Second day, I should say, if you've never been to second day Rosh Hashanah, this year it just might be the one for you. It's on Sunday morning. You're sitting at home in your pajamas. It's all good. You can join us, drink your coffee, come for second day Rosh Hashanah. I usually, for second day, don't do like our regular sermon. We usually look at a short story or something like that, and then have a discussion about it. And I'm hoping I can manage some kind of discussion even in this way for that morning. But instead of a short story, we have the most amazing graphic novella, I guess, graphic short story that Flip introduced me to it years ago, and I've been saving it up for the right moment to pull it out. I used it once for Shabbat Shuvah on a Friday night, but there were only like 6 people there. So the 6 of you who heard it before, you'll roll your eyes, but the rest of you, it should be new. And I look forward to sharing this piece with everyone on Sunday morning as well.
Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'ed nasa b'chefso kol hazai melech shemo nikra Shilo lehachbira beli reshit beli tachlit velo haruz v'hamizrah Chai Gali, Bitsur Chavli, Beit Sarah, Nisi Umanosli, Menad Kosi, Beyom Ekra, Beyom Ekra. Kiruchi be'etishan be'aira ve'imruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira
Shana Tova Tikatevu, Shana Tova Mituka. May it be a good and sweet year for all of us. May we be written in the book of life. And oh, goodbye, 5780. And may we have wonderful good news coming in 5781. So we have Kiddush. Do we? Okay, yeah.
I forgot to grab the grape juice, but just hold it off screen there.
Off screen. We have we have Kiddush. If you have a glass of wine or grape juice in front of you, we'll share together in Kiddush. I thought about doing motzi and the blessing for apples and honey, you know, as if it were an oneg, and then I thought nobody wants me to dip apples and honey and watch me eat it here because odds are good that it wouldn't go well. So I will invite you to do that in your own homes, but we'll say the Kiddush here.
Vahi erev, vahi boker, yom hashishi. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam. Vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'yekadesh oto. Ki vo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot. Bara Elohim lasot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'romemanu mikol lashon v'kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'yahava et yom hashabat hazeh v'et yom hazikaron hazeh Yom zichron trua be'ahava mikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim udvarcha emed ve'kayam la'ad. Baruch atah Adonai melech al kol ha'aretz mekadesh hashabat v'Yisrael v'yom hazikaron. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen. Shana Tova Tikatevu V'techatemu. May you be inscribed and sealed for a good year. Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom. We will see you all back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us, and I hope we are a little bit better tomorrow. Thank you. Shana Tova.
Shana tova.